The lonely ferry runs east and looks west. That year, at that time, a spirited young man appeared in front of me, like a savior. He told me in a cold but slightly concerned tone that there was no need to be afraid. The murderous aura entwined around his long sword had not yet dissipated, as if he was venting his strength and courage. Peach blossoms are young and scorching with their brilliance. I heard him shouting all the time, little leaning, little leaning, little leaning, my chest gradually becoming stuffy. A tear suddenly slipped from the corner of my eye and dripped from the roof, and he, who was originally standing by the bed, unexpectedly reached directly below me and reached out to catch my tear. He looked up and we looked at each other. This glance seemed to span many years, so warm and nostalgic, but it was just an illusion because this is my second meeting with him, and there is his beloved woman sitting in the room. If you don't sell or demand, why don't you use it without zong? I don't want it anymore, brother. I don't want it anymore, and I don't want Tianzhong Yuan either. I just beg you to open your eyes and call me Shao Qing. Again, keywords of the novel. Senior brother, please worship the world with the witch without a pop-up window. Senior brother, please worship the world with the witch. Download the complete set of TXT. Senior brother, please read the latest chapter of Worship the World with the Witch. Chapter 1. The Lonely Ferry, Running East and Looking West. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Lonely Ferry, Running East and Looking West. Take a look at the freshly cooked meat buns. I crouched in the corner, as the owner of the nearby bun shop started selling again, marking the beginning of a new day. I took out a bun from my cloth pocket and stuffed it into my arms to cover the heat. A graceful young master walked leisurely in the distance, dressed in a flowing white robe and exuding a heroic demeanor. It seemed that he was specifically looking for the fragrance of meat and approached. What kind of meat are you making? Hey, young master, are you looking for this meat aroma? This is the meat filling made by the newly hunted Rongshan pig yesterday. The wild Rongshan pig's meat is fresh, tender, refreshing, and chewy, with a thin and fat filling that can be boiled in oil. Among the few towns around here, the most famous ones are the small ones made by the family. Young master can find out by asking about them. Oh, really? Then I have already wrapped all these meat buns, young master. Alright, young master. You're really enjoying yourself. You're eating well, don't forget to come back tomorrow. What kind of filling do you want to eat? Tell the little one is specially prepared for you. He took the silver handed over by the young master, smiled pleasantly, glanced at the gap, and gave me a wink. I understood his meaning. I touched the cold meat bun in my arms, pursed my lips, stood up, shook the dust off my clothes, and prepared to go. I have to admit that his meat buns are indeed delicious, but this shop owner is not really a real person. Every time a customer buys a large number of buns, he would give me a wink, asking me, a little beggar, to rush into them, knock off a few others' buns, and then let me pick them up. I secretly ran to the back door of his shop, wiped the buns clean, and then sold them as new ones. Fortunately, when I met a wealthy man, he naturally wouldn't make things difficult for a few buns. As a dirty and naked little beggar, my eyes widened and I spat out phlegm and cursed, bad luck, before leaving. I can still pick up a bargain and eat the steamed buns stained with his saliva, but when I often walk by the river, my shoes don't get wet. When I'm unlucky, I get caught and beaten up. When I'm weak, the shop owner comes up to persuade me. In the end, he opens his eyes, spits out phlegm and curses, bad luck, before leaving. In order to comfort me, the shop owner even gives me a meat bun that falls to the ground. In any case, I will get a meat bun, but if I don't hit someone, I won't have my meat bun. So, in order to survive, I have to stand up, shake off the dust on my clothes, take a slight step back with my right foot, and prepare for a sprint. However, as I was about to take a step, I instinctively felt the danger and immediately turned around to hide in a small alley 100 meters away. The owner of the steamed bun shop hasn't recovered yet, and he doesn't understand why my long-term partner suddenly turned around and ran away. A black shadow flashed in front of him, and then his neck was grabbed by a furry big hand. When he regained his senses and took a closer look, there was still the elegant young master in white clothes on the ground, with several pieces of broken white cloth. The black chubby man in front of him was clearly a monster in human form. Monster. The people on the street ran away when they heard the wind. I wanted to escape quickly, but just as I ran into the alley, the meat bun in my arms fell out. Yesterday, I had bad luck and got such a bun. It has been 2 days since I ate, and I am so hungry that my hands and feet are turning black. Seeing a group of chubby meat buns thrown on the ground by the monster, I really can't move my steps. This immortal, please let go of the little one. Whatever you want, as long as the little one can do it for you. Really. The voice of the monster changed from the original gentle like jade to thick and dirty, like pickled vegetables that had been soaked in swill for a long time, making people queasy. It's also fortunate that the parents of that shop were able to handle Rongshan pig head on and maintain a smile. Yes, yes, you believe me, immortal. I will definitely go through fire and water for you. Congratulations, you're right. That's exactly what I want. What? You wicked merchant, slaughtering my descendants day by day and chopping them into meat sauce. Now I will also chop you into meat sauce and meat filling to comfort the souls of the dead. It turned out that this monster was actually the Rongshan pig spirit who came to seek revenge for his descendants. I was so scared that I couldn't help but touch my own stomach. Perhaps there is still flesh and blood from his descendants in my stomach now. Ah! I was worried, but suddenly a scream came from over there. I quickly looked up, but before I could even see it, the scream suddenly came to an end. Upon closer inspection, the head of the steamed bun shop owner was bitten down by the pig spirit with its sharp, stained teeth, and swallowed into his stomach. Blood spurted out from the neck of the steamed bun shop owner, making his face covered in fluffy pig spirit. However, he was overjoyed and forcefully tore the body of the steamed bun shop owner into pieces, threw it into the sky, opened his mouth, and swallowed it. Then, he wiped the blood from his face with both hands and licked it in front of his mouth. This is a monster. They kill without blinking their eyes, shouting to avenge their descendants and eliminate evil, under the banner of justice. However, their nature is bloodthirsty and violent, swearing in the cruelty in their blood, enjoying killing for pleasure, and abusing for sex. As I watched helplessly as the owner of the steamed bun shop who had taken me in for food these past few days was easily, quickly, and cruelly killed by the monster like a torn bun, I still couldn't believe it. The boss even yelled at me last night and gave me a meat bun. Before the 16th, the boss caught me stealing his bun and scolded and beat me. The boss treated me like that monster did to him. So, what was that monster like to me? Is it humans who disdain ants? Or is it the pleasure of the eagle stuffing its teeth with the caterpillar? It seems that my fear attracted that monster. Although it was still addicted to the blood in its hands, at that moment, I absolutely felt its cold gaze. No, it was hot. Feeling in crisis, my whole body stiffened, and I quickly turned around and ran, not caring about the fallen bun. However, it seemed that running again at this moment was of no use. Little ladies, why are you running? You delicate and tender, if you fall and scratch your skin, it won't taste good anymore, hee 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 hee. The monster appeared in front of me in the next moment, blocking my way. It grabbed my hair and picked me up, licking my face with a disgusting and foul-smelling tongue. I gritted my teeth, closed my eyes, and waited for death to come. Not fearless, but powerless to resist. Not willingly, but what else can I do? I am a lonely orphan girl, and the owner of the steamed bun shop is no longer here. What do I have to rely on to survive in the future? In this world where demons run rampant, even ordinary people have to work hard to survive. I am not special compared to others, so why should I survive? Why not die in the mouth of this monster today, so as not to suffer in the future and settle everything? End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Pouring Heaven to Pace Luan, The Beginning of Evil Fate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Pouring Heaven to Pace Luan, The Beginning of Evil Fate. I feel the monster's bloody mouth getting closer and closer to me, and I can even feel the stench emanating from its mouth hitting the sweat on my face. I don't know if it's because time passes very slowly, or if the monster deliberately slows down its movements to feel the pleasure of its prey facing death. At this moment, I suddenly felt a strong hatred for my own incompetence, and I wanted to be treated as a plaything by this monster before I died. If I can survive, I must learn magic and eliminate all evil demons in the world. The sudden explosion of my business made me so strong that I kicked away the monster's face. It seemed scared by my sudden outburst and accidentally threw me to the ground. However, when it reacted, it realized that even if I resisted, I was just a little girl over 3 feet tall. I suddenly felt that I had been entertaining her, and my anger surged. I reached out with one hand to grab me again. Before I could react, a red light flashed through me, and the monster's hand flew into the sky, leaving only my arms spewing blood. Heavenly punishment. The monster was shocked and immediately turned around to run, but before taking a few steps, it heard its mournful scream. I watched helplessly as it looked disheveled, saw a magic formation appear at its feet, and saw it being devoured by raging flames, turning into ashes. It's already dead, you don't have to be afraid. At that time, a strong young man appeared in front of me, like a savior. He told me in a cold but slightly concerned tone that there was no need to be afraid. The murderous aura entwined around his long sword had not yet dissipated, as if he was venting his strength and courage. Luan, quickly put away the power of your heavenly punishment, don't scare her. An old man walked over and helped me up, gently asking, your disciple is rude, don't be afraid of the child. What is your name and where do you live? My name is Xian Qingfu. I am an orphan, I have no home. I feel so insecure that I dare not look up, afraid of being despised by them. That's really a pity. We came a step late and couldn't save the owner who sold steamed buns. Now that you have no one to rely on, since we met today, we will never leave you alone. Alright, let's help you find a good family to take you in, okay? The old man sighed, feeling very sorry for me and kind enough to arrange a way out for me. Grandpa, thank you. I want to learn from you. I don't want to be eaten by monsters in the future. Oh. The old man paused for a moment before laughing, little doll, do you want to learn skills? You're young, but you're not afraid. Humph, girls, what are you learning to fight and kill? Can you afford a knife? I was just about to argue, and I even kicked the monster's face. Ask you. Can't I even lift a knife? But when his eyes glanced at the long knife he was holding, there were marks on it when it was casually placed on the ground, so he dared not speak. Luan, aren't you constantly clamoring that everyone else has a junior sister, but you don't? Why, now they want to treat you like you and are not willing to take it. Master, can't you still listen to me about accepting apprentices? If you're interested, can I stop it? The young man suddenly picked up his long sword and thrust it into his heart. I was startled and quickly jumped over to grab his sword. Ignoring his own hand, I was suddenly stabbed by the sharp sword energy, and blood flowed out. Brother, what are you doing? Don't get angry, I just don't need to apprentice. You quickly let go. He shook me off, and I was about to cry. I wanted to ask his master why he didn't stop him and let him hurt me like this, but before he could speak, the knife had already penetrated his chest, but I saw a burst of brilliance that made me unable to open my eyes. Something like a rune appeared, and the knife seemed to be sucked in and disappeared. The young man was not injured at all, bleeding a little. Brother, you. Hua Guang restrained himself, feeling a bit lost. I looked at his chest and then at the old man behind me. Call me senior brother. He grabbed my injured hand and awkwardly drew a magic formation. The formation was strange and angular, completely different from the round and gorgeous one that radiated dazzling light just now. However, as he carefully drew, it finally condensed into a faint light that enveloped the wound on my hand. A warm feeling dispelled the pain in the flesh and blood, and the wound no longer bled, but did not show obvious growth. He pursed his lips, tore off a piece from his own robe, took out a medicine bottle from his pocket, sprinkled medicine powder on it, and carefully wrapped it for me. Your hand was injured by my dragon saber chi, so I can only take care of it for now. Don't be so reckless in the future and lose face with your master. Is it? Master. Luan has asked you to call him senior brother, so naturally he recognizes you. Child, are you willing to recognize me as your teacher? I am willing, I am willing. I immediately knelt down and kowtowed 3 times before calling out obediently, Master. Hey, good child, good disciple. Luan and I passed by here and felt a demonic aura, so we searched for it. Now that the demons in the town have been eliminated, although it's a bit rushed, we still have something important to do. If you don't have any worries, why don't we leave now? I turned around to search for my tough-mouthed and soft-hearted senior brother, only to find that he was nowhere to be found, and the body of the monster was also gone. Just as I was about to shout out loud, he stepped out of the steamed bun shop and saw his arm swing back. A white and shaky object was thrown out by him, with a heavy and loud sound, and the other hand was carrying a package. The pattern looked like the cloth used by the owner of the steamed bun shop to pack the buns. I just saw a woman inside and bought 2 buns with her as dry food on the way. I blinked. Didn't everyone say that monks don't eat human fireworks? Why do they also like to eat meat buns? By the way, my meat buns. I quickly looked over and saw that my meat bun was still lying well on the ground. I was so happy that I ran over and picked it up, wiped it with my sleeve, and hid it in my arms like a treasure. What are you doing picking up that dirty thing? Hurry up and throw it away. But I haven't eaten anything for 2 days. I'm so hungry. But senior brother didn't like me at first. What if we try to provoke him again? I reluctantly took out the meat bun from my arms, pinched and kneaded it in my hands, then squatted down and gently placed it on the ground. Finally, I couldn't resist it and turned my back to cry loudly, afraid to make a sound, but tears kept falling and I kept wiping it with my hands. What are you sad about? Senior brother bought a lot of meat buns for you, and I'm sure he can eat you into a chubby girl. He stuffed the bag of meat buns into my arms, grabbed my hand, and personally wiped my tears. Forget about the wound on your hand. Stupid girl, what should I do if the wound is inflamed? You're such a stingy person. Look at the steamed buns in your arms, and no one's grabbing them from you. Can't you hold them lightly? How can you eat them even if they're crushed by you? You are now my junior sister who wants to arrest Luan. Don't cry and cry all day to embarrass your senior brother. The flame dragon saber aura is very powerful. If you don't take good care of it, you will leave a scar in the future. It's a pity that you cry wherever you go. It's such a beautiful little hand. In the future, senior brother will definitely cultivate you into a chubby girl and buy you meat buns to eat every day. Xiaoqing, be good, let's not worry about this cold bun anymore, okay? We will never eat cold buns again after Qingfu. That day, my senior brother comforted me for a long time. And I also seemed to cry harder and harder, as if crying out all the grievances in my body and saying goodbye to that past grievance. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Headband for Adults, Anger Becomes Red Beauty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Headband for Adults, Anger Becomes Red Beauty. My master and senior brother drove the carriage alternately for 2 days, and I ate steamed buns for 2 days. Finally, I stopped in a forest. It's around here. Let's take a break here and launch a surprise attack tonight. Master, there's no need for a surprise attack, so that those people won't chew on their tongues in the future because of this attack. Tomorrow, I'll go openly. Luan frowned and smiled proudly, his eyes seeming to glow, and all the stars dimmed. Perhaps I've seen too few people, but I feel like no one in this world can compare to this young man who looks like a celestial being. Well, you're right. You really don't need any surprise attacks. After 2 days of driving, you've also consumed a lot of mana. Let's eat something first. The master smiled and was pleased with his senior brother's reaction. When I heard this sentence, my heart skipped a beat. I glanced at the meat bun in my hand that I had bitten, which was still emitting heat. It was my senior brother who used his magic to heat it up for me. It is estimated that the magic absorbed by the wind-like hooray he used to sprint along the way was not as much as the magic used to heat the bun for me. Master, senior brother, this is for you. I pondered for a moment. Although I took a bite on this steamed bun, there was only one empty cloth bag left, so I handed it over. Luan glanced at the trembling junior sister and then at the shrunken cloth bag. A faint smile flashed in his eyes as he pushed back my outstretched hand and said, I don't like eating steamed buns. I'll go hunting, and you'll accompany my master. Yes. His light smile made my heart stop, didn't it? Senior brother has already accepted me, this inexplicable little junior sister. I quickly stuffed the bun into my mouth and ran to my master's side with a bang. Senior brother hunted many monsters and came back. He lit a fire and grilled them to eat with his master. After tasting a little, the master walked away, unsure of what to do. My senior brother saw me drooling next to him and came to pull me to his original seat, saying, let's eat a lot. I nodded and took a branch wearing meat, then my hand started moving on its own. I felt it was instinctive and changed the height and angle. I continued to bake on the fire for a while, blew away the remaining heat, and handed it to him. Senior brother, you can eat this. Luan was stunned for a moment, took it over according to Yen, and without any hesitation, bit it down. As a result, he did not disappoint his expectations. He smiled unconsciously on his face and touched my hair as a compliment. At that time, I was still a shy little girl, extremely happy in my heart, but with a face that no one could tell, I clumsily found a serious topic and said, Senior brother, where has master gone? Tomorrow, it's my 15-year-old coming-of-age day. My master brought me to slay the dragon. When I succeed in slaying the dragon, it will prove that I am already a capable man. Slaughtering dragons. I shuddered, feeling that this was something unforgivable. However, I couldn't understand where my instinctive thought came from. I stared up at the sky for a while, but then looked up and twisted my neck. So my question changed from why I couldn't slaughter dragons to how I could put my neck back so that my senior brother wouldn't see it. I could even twist my neck when I saw the moon. Is the moon so beautiful? No, you're not good looking. Little fool, it's not as good looking as you, he blurted out, and after finishing, he awkwardly smiled before suddenly thinking of something. Xiaoqing, how old are you this year? 10 years old. Xiaoqing, do you know about heavenly punishment? He changed the topic again, and I really want to tell him that changing the topic too quickly is not a good state for chatting. I still maintained a posture of looking up at him. Do you think there is really a God in this world? Legend has it that the name, heavenly punishment, comes from a god who made a mistake, was punished, and was demoted to earth. However, the god is too kind. He did not want his god who had accompanied him for billions of years to be harmed in the mortal world, so he sealed their weapons as envoys into their bodies, allowing them to have the power to protect themselves. This weapon is called the power of heavenly punishment, and those who possess the power of heavenly punishment are called heavenly punishment. I widened my eyes and listened to him speak. I am a heavenly punishment, but I don't know if this legend is true or false. I just feel that if it is true. Xiaoqing. Suddenly, a weight lifted on her body, and the little girl who had been looking up at her fell asleep while still looking up at her. Like a kitten, she couldn't help but want to stroke her soft and long hair. By the way, what question did she ask herself at first? The night passed quickly, and as soon as a hint of red light shone from the east, Ji Tianluan opened his eyes. Master, the young man's eyebrows and eyes were sharp, and his breath was filled with murderous intent. Are you ready? Yes. In fact, if it weren't for waiting for those witnesses, he would have been eager. Go and wake up Qingfu. Let's go together and witness the dragon slaying firsthand. It will also be beneficial for her future development. Ji Tianluan was taken aback for a moment, not expecting his master to make such a request. After glancing at the sleeping face peeking out from the curtain of the carriage, he suddenly changed his voice and said, Master, it's a bit early now. I'm afraid the fire dragon hasn't woken up yet. They might accuse me of a surprise attack. I think we should go until noon. What you said also makes sense. Alright, you can prepare it again. Yes, Master. However, I was not able to sleep soundly until noon. Halfway through the hour, a group of people approached my master and urged my senior brother to conduct an assessment. I don't know exactly what they said, all I know is that my senior brother gently carried me to the dragon's nest. Although I was very careful, I was still awakened by the turbulence on the road. At that time, my senior brother looked at the assessors with the same eyes as he looked at the Rongshan pig monster when he saved me that day. Xiao Qing, wait for me here, don't run around, you know. He found a relatively safe cave with a distant view of the dragon cave for me to hide, and didn't forget to pull some branches to block the entrance. I understand. I nodded obediently. Be good, senior brother will be back soon. After speaking, he turned around and pulled out his long sword from his chest as he walked. In an instant, his killing energy was released, condensed into crystals, and shot in all directions without any concern for the assessors who were still by his side at the time. And those assessors hurriedly dodged, speaking harshly as they quickly dispersed, saying, Ji Tianluan, don't be too arrogant. Even if you are a disciple of the national teacher, you are just a young adult who dares to desecrate the public office of the Heavenly Punishment Association. My Buddha country is not afraid of a small Heavenly Punishment Association. If it weren't for my master speaking for you, you would have become my sacrificial sword souls by now. You yellow-mouthed child, if you fail to slay the dragon this time, you and your master will become the laughing stock of the entire Xianlinji. Haha. Ji Tianluan stopped paying attention to him and just sneered. How dare a few public officials with the power of grade D heavenly punishment shout and scream at his superior heavenly punishment with the power of dragon slaying. Looking at the huge dragon cave thousands of kilometers away, the heat on the dragon's body can also be felt from such a distance, as if its skin is about to burn. No wonder there are no birds or beasts in this 1,000-mile radius. I don't know what feeling it will have when approaching. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The fire dragon is hard to break and the self-proclaimed youth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The fire dragon is hard to break and the self-proclaimed youth. I watched my senior brother's back gradually recede, my heart clenched together. Although I am a commoner, I have also heard of how terrifying dragons are. There are many monsters in the world, and I can't call them many names. Apart from the Rongshan pig monster 3 days ago, I haven't seen any other monsters in my life. But when I was a beggar, I heard passers-by talk about it. In the Xianlinji continent, the weakest monsters were reptile refined monsters, followed by animal like Rongshan pig monsters, and finally, the most powerful monsters on the continent were dragons. Legend has it that in the past, there were deified dragons who were worshipped by the people of the entire Xianlinji continent. However, later on, the dragons were demonized and turned into monsters. The demonic dragons lost their divinity and changed their body shape, becoming like lizards with the appearance of dragons today. They slaughtered the people and used their massive demonic power to destroy towns, posing a huge threat to humanity. Therefore, the Heavenly Punishment Association was formed to unite with the power of the heavenly punishment of the world, protect humans from under the fangs of the demon dragon. Although the Romshan pig monster was easily killed by his senior brother, he has to deal with a dragon today. Even if my senior brother is very powerful, he is only 5 years older than me at the age of tying his hair, and the demon dragon is a monster that even those powerful heavenly punishments fear. Will my senior brother be injured? It's already close to 3,000 feet from the dragon grottos, and the hot air is fuming the face. The air is getting twisted, and the danger level will suddenly increase if we move forward. Everyone is scattered in all directions. Remember to walk away and see the battlefield. Just leave space for our Tion punish to prevent his spell from being too powerful and hurting us. Do you think so, Tion punish? Well, it's better for you to stay away, otherwise in battle, I might not be able to protect you. Luan sneered and waved his sword with his right hand, pointing directly at the dragon hole. Fire dragon, dare you come out and fight me? Roar. With a huge roar accompanied by the collapse of heaven and earth, a fireball suddenly shot out of the dragon's den and exploded at the place where Luan was originally standing. Judging from the momentum, it must have been gaining momentum for a long time, only waiting for Luan to start fighting. The fireball dispersed, and Luan was still standing in place unscathed, while the dragon had already taken off, flapping its huge wings and looking down at him in the air. A great war is on the verge of breaking out. The fire dragon's eyes and mouth were wide open, and another fireball shot out. As his body flipped over, various magic formations automatically appeared, which was the strength of the dragon. With every movement of his mind, it became a spell, while Luan hurriedly drew magic formations to deal with it. Although his technique was so fast that his eyes couldn't keep up, it was also because of this that the drawn magic formations were not so smooth and perfect. Therefore, as the battle intensified, Luan became increasingly struggling. Although I couldn't see my senior brother's battle in the distance, I could see his senior brother wearing a pink moon robe constantly retreating, and the fire dragon attack was getting stronger and stronger. The complex fire-red magic array almost spread across the entire sky, and my senior brother had almost no way out. And those inspectors around hid far away, afraid that the attack of the red dragon would come upon them. I know I have no ability, I know I can't do anything, but I can't control my steps and run towards the battlefield. Just in case, if something happens to my senior brother, I will become a person again. No, I won't be alone anymore. He still underestimated the dragon that even heavenly punishment feared, and didn't expect it to be so tricky to deal with. Even though Burning Dragon is a divine punishment for slaying dragons, it can only barely break through the surface defense of dragons. However, the layer-by-layer magic defense applied by the dragon is more than half of its strength, and when it reaches the dragon scale, only a shallow scratch can be left. And his proud spell was cast at a much slower speed than the fire dragon, and his mana was gradually depleted, causing a sense of strain to gradually invade his body. Suddenly, there was a wave in his heart, driving his eyes to look behind him. The barrier he had set up was shining brightly. How could Xiaoqing, this disobedient girl, run out? The battle situation was constantly changing, and Luan was only distracted for a moment. The fire dragon had already deceived him and approached, completely enveloping his entire body with 6 magic arrays, forming a sealed cage that trapped him and blocked all retreat routes. If you don't break, you'll die. It seems that this arrogant kid is no longer capable. There are interconnected tools between the supervisors. What should we do? Do we need to lend a helping hand? After all, the national teacher is avoiding suspicion and staying away from the battlefield. If we don't save him, he will either die or be disabled. Even if we work together to save him, we probably will get hurt. That kid is not very reckless, let him live and die on his own. We just focus on doing our own work, and when we judge that he has lost his combat power, we can leave and return to work. That's the first person. Yes. Ji Tianluan was trapped in the formation and couldn't get out. The fire dragon was just staring at him, as if looking at a toy. Suddenly, it lifted its head and looked south, where a tiny shadow was approaching. Roar seemed to be annoyed by the continuous disturbance. The dragon let out a roar, lifted its wings, and appeared 30 feet away. Shao Qing. Ji Tianluan's heart beat and he almost forgot to breathe. With a thought, he withdrew the mana used to set up the barrier around the cave, and the mana suddenly increased significantly. In order to protect Xian Qingfu well, Ji Tianluan even used half of his own mana on the barrier. Ji Tianluan inserted the burning dragon back into the heavenly cave and together they drew a complex array. The supervisors around were surprised, feeling a bit disdainful but also skeptical. Has this Sun Tianluan already been frightened into foolishness? Drawing an array with both hands at the same time is a taboo, as drawing an array with both hands does not guarantee the rigor of the array and may result in a double error in the array. This means that a normal array has one non-closed area, while drawing an array with both hands will cause two non-closed areas, and the use of magic with both hands is uneven. This may result in the drawn array not meeting the requirements of the essential array, and drawing an array with errors and unknown functions. It's small that this doesn't achieve the original goal. If you draw a magic array to backfire on yourself, then you won't even have time to protect yourself. Thinking this way, upon realizing it, the heavenly arrest Luan over there had already completed the magic formation. Explosive bliss. The young man hastily spat out a spell, and as soon as he withdrew his hand print, the light of the newly drawn magic array dissipated. With him at the center, a sudden burst of red light burst forth, as if a golden dragon was wandering in the red light. The dragon controlled a pearl, and wherever the pearl went, the magic array left by the demon dragon was broken down into ashes like a piece of paper encountering a raging fire. Not good, retreat quickly. He even drew a copper-level breaking seal formation with both hands, called Explosive Bliss. This spell has a great power, let's retreat quickly. The supervisor led by him shouted in fear, and the four of them dispersed like fleeing for their lives. In the blink of an eye, all the surrounding trees were burned down, and within 30 zhang, even the mountains and rocks turned into ashes. And the young man's body was like a shooting star, his eyes were like burning pearls, flying straight towards the direction of the fire dragon. Demon dragon, if you dare to harm her in the slightest, I will surely strip away your dragon scales, pull out your dragon tendons, and use, burning dragon, to chop you into meat sauce. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Pacification and Rebellion. Merciless burning of dragons. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Pacification and Rebellion. Merciless burning of dragons. Senior brother is trapped. I watched as my senior brother's body, which was originally in a hurry to retreat, paused for a moment. Soon, the cunning fire dragon seized the opportunity to cast spells and trapped him. Even if he used his heavenly punishment to fiercely chop, he could not break through the cage of the formation. Those damn inspectors are just hiding and watching. And I don't know any spells, and I can't save my senior brother. By the way, Master. Master can save senior brother. I need to go find my master. He said he will wait for my senior brother's victory at the resting place last night. No, Master said he would never take action, otherwise senior brother's assessment would be useless. What should I do, what should I do? No matter how much, go to senior brother's place first. Senior brother, even if Shao Qing can't save you, Shao Qing won't leave you alone. My running pace kept going, and my breathing became increasingly intense, like gradually boiling water. Suddenly, a furious dragon roar pierced through the air and struck my brain, causing a pitch-black scene in front of me. I didn't even know who I was, and I didn't know why my feet were still taking non-stop steps. Shao Qing. Senior brother, it's senior brother's voice. I was awakened from my dizziness, and as soon as my gaze recovered, I saw the huge dragon rushing towards me. It was so big that I never imagined such a big creature in the world. It almost covered the sky, and my eyes could hardly fit it. At this moment, I clearly felt the arrival of death, even more afraid than that moment 3 days ago. At that time, death was so close to me for the first time, and I didn't have time to feel scared. I didn't even understand what death was, what death would lose, but now, with my master and senior brothers, a home to go back to, and endless meat buns to eat, I feel like I have everything. But in just 3 days, should I lose it forever again? I don't want to die. Senior brother, help me. Help Shao Qing, roar. Demon dragon. If you dare to harm her in the slightest, I will surely strip away your dragon scales, pull out your dragon tendons, and use burning dragon to chop you into meat sauce. Senior brother, it's senior brother. He escaped from that magic formation, great. Even if the fire dragon covers a vast expanse of the sky and my eyes, it cannot conceal the radiance emitted by my senior brother. Slightly visible, scattering silver light like the wind. However powerful humans may be, are they still ants in front of dragons? The dragon didn't even look back at its senior brother and flew straight towards me, as if I were its enemy. Its gaze at me told me that it would never die with me. Stop it for me. Luan used some kind of magic formation, but his speed surpassed that of the fire dragon with huge wings. He grabbed its tail with both hands and exerted force in the air, stepping on the air as steadily as stepping on the ground. With the power of the air, he forcefully pulled the dragon's body to a stop. Human power is comparable to dragon power. It's amazing to be able to rely on the invisible power of nature. This person is like a godsend, and I even looked away. The supervisor and his team were stunned, and the leader sighed and shook his head. Stay away from her. Stay away. Luan roared and exerted his strength again. This time, he unexpectedly threw the giant dragon backwards, throwing it to the ground with his belly facing upwards. Originally in the air, the giant dragon's body was extremely heavy, and the power of the heavenly hunting Luan was also great. It directly smashed a big hole on the ground, with fragmented dragon scales mixed with blood splattering everywhere. The giant dragon struggled a few times but couldn't turn over, probably injured quite badly. Luan turned around and rushed towards it, his hands constantly drawing a magic formation with his left hand. Surprisingly, his right hand was only halfway open in the heavenly cave and couldn't wait to reach in and draw out the burning dragon. He swung his sword towards the sky, and the blade swept across a fiery dragon. It was the spell triggered by the magic formation he had just drawn with his left hand. To burning heaven. Luan was completely angered by the fire dragon. This move was purely an attack-type armor bronze level spell, and he didn't want to leave a way for the fire dragon to survive. Bang! The fire dragon, which had been severely hit, had no strength to roar anymore. Only a scream of agony was forced out of its throat. At this moment, it could only exhale without taking in air, without considering its dignity as a dragon. Demon dragon, suffer death. Senior brother, don't. I don't know why, but after seeing the fire dragon being heavily hit by senior brother, his body unexpectedly moved on its own and rushed down the mountain slope. As senior brother gathered his energy to prepare for the final blow, he came to the side of the fire dragon, stretched out his arms, and blocked in front of senior brother. Shao Qing. What's wrong? Why are you protecting it? Did this demon dragon just cast some spell on you? Luan's tone suddenly became tense. Xian Qing is still just a fragile child, with no resistance from magic. If he is really forced to cast the contract, it is not impossible, but if it is really like this, then Shao Qing's life will also be linked to this dragon. No, senior brother. It didn't do anything. It just It's just that it's been hiding in the mountains and forests for many years and hasn't done anything bad. If it's killed for no reason, it's really pitiful. Get out of the way. Ji Tianluan quietly breathed a sigh of relief. Teacher. Get out of the way, Shaoqing. He spoke sternly without any concession. I'm sorry, senior brother. I won't let you harm it. I was scared by my senior brother's tone, and I didn't dare to look at him like I did just now. I turned around and ran, stopped by the dragon's head, hugged its head, and comforted it. I'm not afraid, I know you haven't done anything wrong, I will protect you. I only focused on protecting it, but I didn't pay any attention to the cracks spreading under my senior brother's feet or his hands that were scorched red. A copper-level spell, is it so easy to retract and release? If the spell that has already been condensed is not released but is maintained continuously, even with the protection of Burning Dragon, the sky-chasing Luan will be sucked dry by it. Moreover, he had already lost a lot of mana in his previous battle with the Fire Dragon, and had previously used the armor bronze level spell, Explosive Bliss, to break the seal. Now, although it may seem majestic, it is actually quite formidable. Shaoqing. Ji Tianluan's voice almost squeezed out from between his teeth. He had no strength to speak in order to maintain his spell. Who would have thought that a 10-year-old child, a well-behaved junior sister, would suddenly stand in front of their own sword? In order for her to bear the fear and overdraw her own mana, she used 2 Fantian, and surprisingly, she stood in front of her own sword. However, all reflection was too late, and Ji Tianluan no longer had the strength to hold on to the burning dragon. As the burning dragon struck directly, he painfully closed his eyes and let out a roar that broke through his throat, as if he wanted to salvage something, but also felt powerless that nothing could save him. Roar. The fire dragon's strength came from somewhere, perhaps from a struggle before death. It turned over and blocked me from behind, charging towards my senior brother's spell. The explosion almost deafened my ears, the tinnitus covered the whole world, and my eyes were also blinded by the smoke and dust. The huge dust choked me and I couldn't breathe. In this situation, I know I was basically stepping on the edge of death, but I didn't fall into that abyss. Because there is no pain. Even apart from the feeling of smoke hitting the body, there is no other tactile sensation. Everyone is isolated in the smoke and dust, unable to see or hear. This unknown loneliness makes people feel scared. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Humble and Clever, Fire Dragon as Servant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Humble and Clever, Fire Dragon as Servant. After an unknown amount of time, the smoke and dust finally dissipated slowly. The 4 supervisors widened their eyes to see the situation below, and in the next moment, the battle situation below would be clear. Did the fire dragon die under the sword of Ji Tianluan? What about the beloved junior sister of Ji Tianluan? With a heavy breath accompanied by a huge stream of air, the last lingering smoke and dust finally dissipated, revealing the huge brown-red horns of the fire dragon. It's a dragon. The dragon is not dead. The monitor was shocked, and such advanced attack spells could not kill it, which had already been seriously injured. The dragon's vitality was so tenacious. What about Ji Tianluan and Xian Qingfu? Shaoqing. Shaoqing, wake up and see if senior brother is good. It's because senior brother is not good. Senior brother shouldn't have brought you to such a dangerous place. If you wake up, senior brother should take you home. Senior brother promised to treat you to meat buns every day, and senior brother will definitely give you the best in the world. Shaoqing, Shaoqing. The call of Ji Tianluan suddenly came out, and the smoke dispersed. He saw Xian Qing, who was lying on the ground and didn't wake up. There seemed to be no signs of injury on his body. He didn't have time to celebrate, but suddenly realized that the girl in his arms was no longer breathing, and his heart seemed to be in an instant. To stop, even when facing the dragon, he was not so afraid. He choked up and his voice was a bit muffled, probably burying his head on Xian Qing's caressed shoulder to suppress his tears. Chi. The fire dragon suddenly lowered its head and approached the two of them. Fire dragon. Ji Tianluan saw it as if he had seen the culprit, with flames in his eyes. His hand holding the fire dragon trembled incessantly, his teeth rubbing left and right to make a sizzling sound, and his whole body arched. It seemed that as long as the fire dragon made any dangerous move, his attack would immediately fall on it. Suddenly, the dragon's mouth opened wide, and a milky red liquid surged out. Ji Tianluan was startled. He didn't have time to adjust his preparation posture just now, so he could only use his own body to block Xian Qing's stroke in front of him. Then, amidst the crimson dragon blood, a glimmer of gold flashed through Ji Tianluan's eyes. He reached out and grabbed the blood clot with gold threads in the bloodstream, stuffing it into Xian Qing's caressing mouth. That is the essence of dragon life. Even a small piece of it contains huge life energy. The fire dragon then bent down, and the huge dragon head embraced by the six of them obediently leaned against Xian Qingfu's side, seemingly guarding her. You actually know how to repay kindness, Ji Tianluan sneered. Soon, this hint of smile was defeated by worry, with a face full of tension and frustration. His eyes were fixed on Xian Qingfu for a moment, hoping she could react a little. Cough, cough. Xiao Qing. Ji Tianluan smiled and quickly helped me up a bit, following my back. Xiao Qing, how are you feeling? Is there anything uncomfortable? Senior brother, what's wrong? Are you so happy? I have never seen him smile before. He always has a stern face, looks fierce, and is difficult to touch, master. Brother. Don't kill it, okay? While he was happy, I quickly grabbed his hand and begged, but there was still a hint of timidity in my heart, so I spoke a bit stuttering. Don't worry, that fire dragon is still fine. It just saved you. For some reason, he suddenly became nervous again, frowned, and earnestly helped me carry it on my back, as if to reassure me. He even pointed to the fire dragon behind me. Really? I turned around pleasantly, only to find myself leaning against the dragon's back, which scared me into a fierce cough. My senior brother also stroked his back violently, and the fire dragon let out a pitiful whimper. However, the breath almost blew me back into the cave where I was hiding. The fire dragon's whimpering seemed to convey something. Ji Tianluan drew a magic formation in the air, then passed his hand through the formation and pressed it against its forehead, closing his eyes to listen. Xiao Qing, it said that in return for your life-saving kindness, it is willing to become your contract demon servant. Opening his eyes, Ji Tianluan said happily. Xiao Qing doesn't know how to spell now. If he had the most powerful monster protection on the continent, he would definitely be much safer in the future. According to the statistics of the Heavenly Punishment Association, there are a total of 99 dragons in this world, and this number seems to be a deliberate balance maintained by the gods. If one dragon is hunted, there will soon be a new one. If a new head is born, soon one will either be hunted or die naturally. And the fire dragon he specially selected ranked 16th on the list of demon dragons, which is very high and does not disappoint his ability. However, he did not expect such an accident to happen and prevent him from slaughtering the dragon this time. But if Xiao Qing could accept it as a demon servant, then he would make a lot of money. After all, the demon dragon with such strong demon power is too difficult to make it surrender. I don't want to. Why? Ji Tianluan frowned. I didn't answer him, so I turned around and hugged the huge dragon head, lying in its ear and asked, Fire Dragon, are you willing to be a demon servant for my senior brother? My senior brother is very strong, like a monster like a Rongshan pig. He takes one knife at a time, and if you follow him in the future, he will protect you. I won't do anything, and you have no future with me. I tempted him. Roar. The fire dragon let out a soft roar, as if it was a compromise. Cluck, senior brother, it has agreed. Senior brother, go quickly, it will be your demon servant from now on. I pulled my senior brother and made him face the fire dragon's 4 eyes with tenderness. Cough, I won't force you, Huolong. Are you really willing? Since I promised Shaoqing that I won't kill you, I naturally won't break my promise. If you have any unwillingness, you can leave now, and I, Ji Tianluan, will also leave and promise not to disturb you again. Ji Tianluan, if you let him go today, then your dragon slaying will be considered a failure. You must consider carefully and not let the national teacher down. At some point, the 4 supervisors arrived at the top of the trees around them, hiding from afar, even though they were afraid to death, they pretended to shout. Ji Tianluan didn't even bother to lift his eyelids. He had already completed the same formation as before, and his right hand passed through the formation and pressed it against the forehead of the fire dragon, closing his eyes to listen. Please accept my loyalty, humble servant Huolong Xianfang. The contract suddenly appeared in the air, and a fiery red contract mark appeared on the forehead of both Ji Tianluan and Huolong Xian, indicating that the contract had been completed and Xian had become Ji Tianluan's contract demon servant. Ji Tianluan and Huolong Xianfang opened their eyes wide at the same time, and their mutual gaze revealed a sense of empathy. The remaining hatred after the war had been completely eliminated. Just now, I was only focused on fighting, but I didn't realize that the spell of 1 person and 1 dragon combined, without distinguishing between us, is a rare law of heaven. The law of heavenly harmony refers to the perfect match between the fluctuations of the 2 spells, yet with a subtle difference. It is precisely this subtle difference that can greatly increase the fluctuations of the spells and directly elevate the cast spells by 1 level. Xianfang, welcome. Ji Tianluan hugged Xuanfang's horns, and Xianfang also responded with a grin. I couldn't help but laugh when I saw my senior brother so happy. Have I ever said that although my senior brother is resolute and cold-blooded, he is as beautiful as a fairy in a painting? His dark long hair is tied up freely, and the tail of his hair floats in the wind. Staying in blood gives him a unique charm. But senior brother doesn't laugh often. Now that he smiles, no one in the world dares to match him. At that time, when he was young, he exuded a vigorous vitality all over his body, along with the arrogance of being the only one in the world. Unfortunately, time was merciless, and the white horse took away the past. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Divine Pearl Transmission, Golden Tile Pear Bricks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 Divine Pearl Transmission, Golden Tile Pear Bricks. He actually subdued the fire dragon. 15-year-old dragon survivor. The supervisors were stunned one by one. What did they witness this time? Is it a vain young man's dragon-slaying failure? Or is it a dragon-slaying miracle of a boy with tied hair? Hey, the lackeys of the Heavenly Punishment Association, have you seen enough of this commotion? If you've seen enough, you can leave now, right? Ji Tianluan was really impatient and kept being stared at by these people, his wolf-like tiger eyes were too uncomfortable. Yes, Lord Sun, let's leave now. Those people changed their previous arrogance and were so humble and polite. Because they know that after tonight, the name of Ji Tianluan may spread throughout the entire Xianlinji continent. The Dragon Slayer has not appeared for nearly a decade, and it only receives a title and becomes the heavenly punishment. Throughout history, the Dragon Slayer has been ranked among the top 10 angels in the heavenly punishment, a glory of the mainland and a hero of the people. The supervisor saluted the Tianluan, and the leader took out the transmission bead, drew the array, and sent the 4 people back to the headquarters of the Heavenly Punishment Association. Senior brother, how did they disappear? For the first second, I thought these annoying ghosts would just leave quickly. The next second, they had already disappeared in front of me. I rubbed my eyes hard to make sure they were not covered by my fan-shaped eyelashes. When my senior brother saw them disappear, he breathed a sigh of relief and grabbed my injured hand to remind me not to exert too much force. They used teleportation tools and teleported them back to the Heavenly Punishment Association. Although these tools are convenient, they can only be teleported back to a fixed place. When they return home in 2 days, I will also give Xiaoqing a gift so that she can come back when she misses home outside. Really, thank you, senior brother. I happily hugged Xianfang. After all, Xianfang and senior brother are now one, holding them is equivalent to holding senior brother. However, at that time, I did not expect that the teleportation beads sent by my senior brother would only be used for the first time until my death, for the sake of my senior brother himself. Well behaved, let's go back and find our master. He must be in a hurry. Okay. Xianfang, you are not lightly injured. Enter my heavenly acupoint for recuperation. Heavenly acupoint is the place where heavenly punishment preserves its power and is also the gateway to heavenly punishment's life. If heavenly acupoint is destroyed, heavenly punishment's life will also come to an end. Qi. Xianfang responded meekly, and Ji Tianluan quickly drew an array to open the heavenly cave, sending Xianfang inside. I grew up and looked at it with my mouth wide open. So big a dragon, was it just like how it was inserted into such a small heart? I knew it was so simple. At the beginning, I put Xianfang inside and starved it for 7 or 8 months until it was weak. Then, I pulled it out and cleaned it up, and it was so hard to control all the meat and vegetables. There was no need for everyone to be soaked in blood and restless like now. My senior brother looked at my increasingly vivid eyes and smiled helplessly, as if he knew what kind of devilish idea was in my mind. He immediately stopped me and said, Xiaoqing, you don't understand. If the heavenly acupoint is damaged, the heavenly punishment will also die in the underworld. He used his sleeve to wipe away the blood that had just spat out from my face, and then grabbed my hand with his left hand. Xiaoqing, hold on tight, senior brother will take you flying over. As he said, the magic array on his right hand had already been drawn, and suddenly turned into fragments, rushing towards his back and then assembling a pair of wings. He kept his hands on it and drew another identical formation, transforming it into my wings. Do I have it too? Of course, this is just a level 5 spell, and my master will teach you it in the future, he said. As he took a breath, he actually floated up. Come on, Xiaoqing, lift your qi and lighten your body. I learned his way of inhaling, senior brother, I can't fly. I listened to the sound of broken wings behind me in frustration, with a mournful expression. Is it because I have eaten too many meat buns these past few days and are too fat, so my spell cannot hold her? It's okay, you've never been exposed to spells before, and it's normal for you not to know how to use them. It's just that I didn't consider it carefully. Come on, senior brother, hold you, right. My senior brother's last sentence was trembling, and I seemed to feel his stiffness and unwillingness in saying it. Okay, thank you, senior brother. I pretended not to understand his unwillingness and ran over to hug his neck. Senior brother smiled helplessly and picked me up. His arms are calm and powerful, making it easy to pick me up, so. I haven't gained weight at all. In just the blink of an eye, my senior brother held me and flew back to the place where he rested last night. The ground was covered in densely packed magic formations painted by my master. It seemed that my master was not worried about my senior brother's battle at all, and he was still in the mood to study his magic here. Master, I have returned. I am unfilial and I have made you worried. Worried? Senior brother, where did you see that master is worried about you? There was a lot of commotion over there just now, were you injured? I have nothing to do, I have some good news to tell my master. The dragon slaying was successful, wasn't it? The disciple was not able to slay the dragon, but he accepted it as a demon servant. Subduing the dragon. The master seemed unresponsive for a moment, then patted his thigh and shouted, all right, truly worthy of being my disciple of Huailao. This time when we go back, the position of the great general of the Buddha is none other than yours. I want to see who else dares to oppose it. Ha ha ha, alright, good child. Master Xia praised it. We have been out for 4 days now, and it's time to go back. As he spoke, the master rolled up his sleeves, revealing the string of beads on his wrist. With a casual finger, a magic formation was triggered, enveloping the three of them. A wave of flower shadows flowed in front of me. When I regained my senses, I saw pear bricks and golden tiles, grass and trees gardens, small bridges and flowing water, birds singing and flowers fragrant, magnificent. Anyway, it was very, very beautiful. I had never seen such a beautiful place before, and I wished I could use all the words of praise I knew. No wonder senior brother is so graceful as a startled swan, as graceful as a wandering dragon, as proud as an autumn chrysanthemum, as lush as spring pine, as if shrouded in light clouds like the moon, swaying like a flowing wind returning to snow, gazing at it from afar, as bright as the sun rising in the morning glow, forcing one to observe it, and as scorching as lotus leaves the green waves. What kind of mess are you thinking, you little head melon seed? Master, senior brother. I was thinking about my senior brother's appearance. This is your future home, do you like it? Like. As long as you like it, it's still early in the morning. I'll follow my master to court and report. You're waiting for us at home and not allowed to run around, you know. I know. I twisted my clothes and responded obediently. From now on, I will truly start a new life. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Thunder refers to marriage, not admiring merit and fame. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Thunder refers to marriage, not admiring merit and fame. Report. National teacher returns to court. Oh. The national teacher has finally returned, so I have to wait. Please. The person sitting on the dragon chair changed his previous seriousness, and a look of great joy appeared on his face. He is the king of that Buddha. Luan Jixing. Xian Guoshi's audience. The messenger hurriedly shouted as they ran out of the palace to welcome Guoshi and Jitian Luan. Huailao walked ahead with a meteor in big strides. Even though he was already gray-haired, he did not show any signs of aging. On the contrary, the arrogance on his face made some people in the court feel heartbroken. Your Majesty. The national teacher and Ji Tianluan bowed and bowed at the same time, but did not bow 3 times or kowtow 9 times. I respectfully welcome the national teacher back to court, said the courtiers in unison. Huailao smiled deeply and slightly bowed in return. National teacher, what was the result of taking Tianluan to slay the dragon this time? Luan Jixing leaned forward slightly, looking forward to the answer in his mouth. Upon returning to the king, as instructed, I specially invited members of the Heavenly Punishment Association to witness the young apprentice slaying the dragon. Unfortunately, they did not see the dragon being slaughtered. Huailao hesitated and deliberately paused at this point. The meaning of a national teacher is Tianluan so anxious that he went to slay the dragon before the witnesses sent by the Heavenly Punishment Association arrived? Someone in the court couldn't help but ask eagerly. Not really. On the contrary, it was the people from the Heavenly Punishment Association who urged Tianluan to slaughter the dragon. Intentionally, he only spoke halfway, waiting for some people to continue questioning. The meaning of Guoshi's words. Is it that Tianluan, the dragon slaying failed? Wah. Hearing a guess, the whole room was in an uproar. Don't talk nonsense. National Master, I believe in Tianluan's strength. I have promised that if he succeeds in slaying the dragon this time, the position of General Zaifo will belong to him. You won't disappoint me, will you? Report to your Majesty. I will not disappoint your Majesty. Tianluan did not disappoint your Majesty's trust and became the only one in the Xianlinji continent for 10 years. The dragon survivor. Hua. Hearing the proud words of the national teacher, the whole room was once again in an uproar. Okay, okay, okay. Seize the heavenly Luan, come forward and listen to the seal. Wang Shi, the Buddha, smiled. I am here. Ji Tianluan knelt down on one knee to show his loyalty to the Buddhist kingdom. As promised, I will appoint you as the Grand General, in charge of the 3 armies, and I will bestow Princess Chaoyang on you and marry you on a certain day. Wow! The whole room was once again in uproar, and the king was so happy that he wanted to betroth his only princess to him. What? Ji Tianluan was stunned. He didn't expect the king to suddenly impose such a reward. Thank you very much for the kindness of the king. Tianluan, thank you soon. The national teacher hurriedly reminded him from the side, and his disciple himself knew best. The surprised expression on Tianluan's face just now had already revealed his surprise and dissatisfaction. Ji Tianluan suddenly stood up and looked directly at Lan Jixing, saying, Ji Tianluan cannot listen to the seal. Why? The Buddha king frowned slightly, and the corners of his curved eyes suddenly became sharp. Ji Tianluan cannot marry Princess Chaoyang. Ji Tianluan paused each word, showing his determination. Wow! The whole audience was once again in an uproar. Ji Tianluan had a bad temper before, but now that he has subdued the dragon, he dares to openly resist the king. What a fuss! Shut up, everyone. After speaking, he pointed to Ji Tianluan and said, You. Alright, then don't ask for any rewards. I see you as a grand dragon-slaying warrior. Since you dare not even consider a princess of a country, then you probably don't look up to the position of this great general. Your Majesty. The national teacher quickly bowed and was about to plead, but was angrily interrupted by Lan Jixing. Don't say anything, my decision has been made. The national teacher is tired from the journey, so go back and rest. Yes. Huai Lao frowned deeply, but didn't say anything before turning and leaving. Ji Tianluan walked faster without any hesitation, turned around and left. Angered, Lan almost smashed the memorial on the table at him. I have walked around this garden for about 30 times now, and even the most beautiful fish and flowers are no longer interesting to appreciate. Moreover, I haven't eaten anything all morning and my stomach is also hungry. The footsteps didn't follow and slowly moved to the door. I secretly poked my head out, glanced at it, and immediately lowered my face, because the outside was just like the inside, a garden. At this moment, a group of people approached outside the door, with extremely fast steps and low heads, each holding something in their hands. I dare not step out of the house casually, so I can only shout, Hello, brothers and sisters, are you outside? The group of people stopped and the leader glanced at me. What's going on outside and inside? This palace belongs to the king. Where did you come from, the little palace maid? You're so bold. What a big smell. Look at your outfit. You're from the Pure Night Garden, right? Follow the back of the group and leave quickly. Ah. Oh. I was inexplicably grabbed by a small palace maid at the end and pulled to her side. Wow, you're so brave. You dare to enter the garden of the national teacher. It was my master who brought me in, I muttered softly, but because I had just arrived, I didn't even know who was who. Moreover, seeing her clothes so clean and beautiful, and looking at my own tattered clothes, I felt a bit ashamed and didn't dare to speak loudly. What are you saying? No, it's nothing. Don't be afraid, I'm from Mingxifang, not much better than the Pure Night Garden where you are. Oh. I turned around to look at the door I had just stepped on. The flat sign on the door clearly read Zhan Tian Fu. Did I mistake the words? Hey, have you heard me? What? You're really, so silly. No wonder you look pretty, but you can only work in the Pure Night Garden. Let me ask you first, why did you break into this Zhantian mansion? Don't you know this is a forbidden area in the palace, and those who trespass will die? What, the intruder dies? I don't know, I don't know. I quickly shook my head. Thank you for encountering us and bringing you out. Otherwise, when the master of that mansion comes back, you will be beautiful. I was scared to death. I really didn't know that the garden was originally a forbidden area. I was brought in, thanks to you. What do you mean by, you, me? Such words cannot appear in this palace. I am on duty in Mingxifang, and my position is probably higher than yours. You should call me Sister Rui. What is your name? I pouted in anger and said, my name is Xian Qingfu. Ah. You are really bold. How could you be so rebellious? In this palace, all the people are from the king, and you want to abandon your original family. If you enter the palace, you will lose your surname. I was shocked. Looking back on my master and senior brother, they only called me Qing Fu and Xiao Qing after meeting me, and never called my surname. Is it true that I don't have a surname in the future? No, I don't want to be in the palace, I want to go out, I want to go out. I ran away, my mind was in chaos. Our master and senior brother bad people who kidnap and sell children. They saw that I was cute and obedient, so they turned me into a palace maid in this palace, and then they got paid and ran away without me. But senior brother is so good looking, how could he be a bad person? Master is also very kind to me. I thought I could have a family, but now I have to abandon my own surname. Ah! It hurts so much. Ah! Exclaimed a man. I was knocked to the ground and was about to ask him why he didn't have long eyes when he walked. However, what caught my eye was a handsome young master with a face like jade, starry eyes and sword eyebrows, and lips like cherry blossoms. I swallowed my saliva and couldn't bear to scold him, just as I couldn't help but smile at him. Dare, where did you come from? You're called Fanhuazi. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Beggar's Exhortation, His Treasure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Beggar's Exhortation, His Treasure. Don't talk nonsense, I haven't been doing it for a long time. I heard the giggles of people around me, got up angrily, and stood in front of the young man in a fierce manner. Who are you? If you knock someone down and don't apologize, are you even more impolite than calling rice flowers? Bold. Dare to speak disrespectfully to me, come on, drag it down, hit the 50 big board hard. I didn't expect that the handsome young master in front of me would change his face if he said so. With a command, two people rushed out from behind and grabbed me, pretending to drag me away. Their hands clamped me like pliers, and I struggled for half a day without any side effects except for hurting myself. Hey! Why are you fighting? I was just about to fish to death, break through the net, and curse, when I felt my clothes being gently pulled off by someone. So I prepared to turn my spear towards the person who was pulling my clothes. Although my clothes are dirty and torn, I'm just one piece of clothing. What should I wear if I'm torn? I turned around and found out it was Rui. She squeezed her eyes at me, probably because she got sand in her eyes and accidentally tripped, pulling my clothes in an emergency. Never mind, seeing that she took me away from the forbidden area and saved my life, I won't argue with her about this matter of clothes. I turned my head, took a breath, and was about to curse again when someone interrupted me. Please forgive me, Crown Prince. Her name is Qing Fu and she is a new palace maid from the Pure Night Garden. She has not yet learned the rules, so please punish the Crown Prince lightly. Rui knelt down towards the Crown Prince and kowtowed. I was surprised when she called the young man. Did I offend the young master of this palace after breaking through the forbidden area? It's over, it's over. I'm sure I'll spend my whole life working as a child laborer here and being bullied. Since she hasn't learned the rules, let her have a long memory for once. If there are any more pleaders, they will share the same sin. Why don't you drag it on? Yes. The young man remained unmoved and waved his hand. The two palace maids who held me up easily lifted me up like lifting a chick. Hey! What are you doing? Let go of me, let go of me. Seeing the little beggar being taken away, Luan Fengke finally took a breath. This beggar is really dirty and smelly, worthy of being a person from the pure night garden. Alright, it's none of your business, go on duty. Luan Fengke waved his hand, and the group of palace attendants bowed, secretly breathed a sigh of relief, and quickly walked away. Suddenly, His Royal Highness raised his hand and said, "You, stay." Rui looked at him pointing at her finger, her scalp tingling, and she knelt down with a plop. "Please spare your life, Crown Prince. I don't want to punish you. You are a kind and good servant. Judging from your attire, you are from Mingxifang. I have wronged you in that place. I will go to Qifang Pavilion as a servant in the future." Qifang Pavilion. Isn't that the Crown Prince's sleeping palace? Yes. Thank you, Your Highness the Crown Prince. Rui quickly responded with joy. Go ahead. I'm leaving, maidservant. Rui bowed and walked briskly, almost breaking the rules. Your Highness, you have just been hit and your clothes have been stained. Do you want to go back to the palace and change them? As the Crown Prince paced in front of the Zhantian mansion, his face seemed somewhat displeased. A palace attendant approached in a timely manner to inquire. No need. This guy, who was already driven down to court by my father, really doesn't know where he went after going down to court and hasn't returned yet. I'm so anxious. Luan Fengke couldn't help but grit her teeth and shout out. Your Highness, Crown Prince. The young man's voice suddenly sounded from behind, and the Crown Prince quickly turned around. Tianluan. You kid, you finally came back. Where did you go? Because I was rude to the king in the court just now, I was educated by my master. If I hadn't trusted the one in the mansion, my master wouldn't have let me come back now. Tianluan, hurry up, let me take a look at your dragon. I'm so envious of you, you're really lucky. I see you've been staring at me in the main hall just now, wishing you could see through my body. It turns out you're just looking at Xianfang. Ji Tianluan joked, I dealt too much with it during the war, and it's currently resting. Let's wait a few days. Upon hearing that she couldn't see the demon dragon today, Luan Fengke immediately looked disheartened and blamed all her sins on the beggar just now in her heart. Seeing him feeling a bit unhappy, Ji Tianluan changed the topic and said, by the way, this time I'm going out, I have another game. Let's go, I'll take you to see her. What treasures have you obtained? Ji Tianluan, I really feel that sometimes you are even more like a crown prince than me. You embrace all the treasures of the world, either from the national teacher or from your own missions, or from my father's reward. I am eager for those treasures. If you want it, just take it away. Humph, I see you're so happy rarely. I'm sure you got 1 out of 10,000 treasures this time, are you willing to give it to me? Luan Fengke joked. Ji Tianluan stopped and turned his head to look seriously at the crown prince, saying, she cannot deliver. Cut, stingy, Luan Fengke muttered softly, whoever said they liked it just now would take it. Ji Tianluan stepped into the courtyard, but did not see the figure of the little girl. He felt a little uneasy and said, Xiaoqing, where are you? However, the answer to him was the sound of gurgling water, mixed with the crisp chirping of birds. Strange, this girl, tell her not to run around, where the hell has she gone? Why, there's a girl at your mansion. Xiaoqing. This name is a bit familiar, She's silly and likes to run around. I don't know where she went this time. It seems that the positive barrier is useless. If we need to set it up in the future, we'll set it up as the negative barrier. Ji Tianluan sighed and waved his hand, as if a thin film had been lifted over the Tianfu, turning into brilliance and returning to Ji Tianluan's body. When I first entered, I didn't feel the existence of the barrier at all. It seems that the gap between oneself and Tianluan is not even a speck. Tianluan searched the entire room, but did not see any trace of Xian Qingfu, not even a tattered corner of his clothes. Corner of his clothes. Just now at the door, there seemed to be something black and blurry. Upon closer reflection, it seemed like a corner of Xiao Qing's clothes. Tianluan turned around and his figure had already appeared at the entrance of the Zhantian mansion. There were still remnants of magical radiance in the air, along with the silver remnants of the wind. Sure enough. Just now you were at the door, did you see a 10-year-old girl? Tianluan pointed to the cloth on the ground and looked at Lan Fengke who was following. No. This piece of cloth is so familiar to the eyes. The pungent smell is also so unique. How? Tianluan's eyes lit up. It seems like I met a little beggar around 10 years old. As a precious junior sister, Tianluan unexpectedly became the beggar in the mouth of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. However, due to the busy task of slaughtering dragons, Xiao Qing had not been able to take a shower or change clothes. She still dressed like a beggar before, and Tianluan breathed a sigh of relief. With such a unique style, he probably wouldn't admit it wrong. It's Xiao Qing, where is she? She bumped into me and made rude remarks. I ordered someone to reward her with 50 boards. What are you talking about? Tianluan's anger surged as he had not yet had a chance to change his pink moon robe stained with dragon blood. With his lips clenched, the Zhan Tianfu plaque on his head, which Lan Jixing personally wrote, suddenly clicked. Cracks spread like snakes, multiplying like insects, and then instantly turned into powder, drifting away with the wind. Take me there. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Life Game, Fury Burning Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Life Game, Fury Burning Dragon. How come you guys are like this? No one is reasonable. Let go of me. Let go of me. I kept struggling, but no one paid attention to me, which actually made the strange and sinister leader of the palace angry. Don't leave your hands behind later. 50 big boards won't kill a little doll, and you're not qualified to eat in the palace anymore, you know. Yes, Duke Li. So, after I was tied to the bench, the two palace attendants who were executing seemed to be fighting and cursing to please the Duke Li. You stinky beggar, hitting you is like dirtying our board. Then you let me wash it clean first before hitting. This girl doesn't like this. Are you still stubborn? Are you two slacking off and not putting in enough effort? The person in charge of the execution on the side spoke more and more ominously, and he repeatedly made the two palace officials who were executing more and more heavy-handed. I dare not, Li Gonggang. This little girl is stubborn. We must open her buttocks and see if she still has the strength to be stubborn. Well, let's fight. Yes, yes. The board fell on me one by one, and except for the first few times, I didn't feel much pain anymore. I even had a stubborn mood with them, and then the board swung higher. My hand tightened the bench under my body, and the wooden thorns were cut and pierced into the crevices of my nails. However, they were covered by the dirt in the crevices of my nails, and there were no visible bloodstains. Unexpectedly, I didn't die in the hands of the Rongshan pig, under the sharp claws and teeth of the demon dragon, but would I die in the hands of my own kind? Died under the words of the person known as the Crown Prince. The board fell onto me, but it still didn't hurt very much. Oh, little ladies, don't you scream. That's just not painful yet. Give me a hard hit her to the death, until she admits her mistake. Li Gonggang seemed to be standing on the side, bored, trying to find some fun with me. With a plump face on his face, he leaned in front of me and smiled proudly to show me. He waved his chubby hand, so the executioner swung the board higher. Who dares? The imagined heavy blow did not fall. I only heard a loud explosion above me, even louder than the explosion when Grandpa Wu was frying brown rice on the street. It was deafening, almost surpassing the senior brother's shout of, "Who dares? Hurry up and step back." Luan Fengke couldn't keep up with his speed, and Ji Tianluan had already slapped the two executioners away. He had just turned around the palace wall and saw them, only to see the two executioners, his close eunuchs, spitting blood and shooting out from their mouths, landing heavily on the ground without moving. It must be that he had already gone. The two of them have been friends for nearly a decade, and Ji Tianluan's personality is most clear to him. The coldness on the face and the brutality on the bone. This time, several palace officials hurt someone he valued so much because of their orders. In his anger, Ji Tianluan will definitely not give them a way out. He can only shout out quickly, "One can save another." Ha, step back. Using the big to bully the small and inflict such a cruel hand on a 10-year-old child. What kind of evil slave is he still doing in the palace? Before he could finish speaking, Ji Tianluan let out a furious shout. The formation was instantly completed, and the heavenly cave poured out the burning dragon. With a wave of his sleeve, Ji Tianluan seemed to have gained intelligence and rushed straight towards the imprisoned Li Gonggang. Ji Tianluan looked down upon it, his eyes only fixed on the bloodstains on Xian Qingfu's body. Although it was black clothes, he could see the wet places, which must be Xiaoqing, Xiaoqing. He gently pulled my hand and called out to me. Although he was so strong that he could pull a dragon, how could he hold my hand so soft and gentle, as if surrounded by clouds? "Senior brother, why did you come? Xiaoqing has been waiting for you for a long time and is getting impatient. Look, there are still a few older brothers here who are watching Xiaoqing bored and playing games with him. The two older brothers behind me are trying to raise their boards higher, while Xiaoqing is serving as a judge for them." I reluctantly opened a slit in my eyes and smiled to show him. "Xiaoqing, you're talking nonsense, senior brother will take you back," he said carefully as he picked me up. My eyes were a bit blurry, but I felt something glowing flashing past, mixed with a strong smell of blood. It was probably that burning dragon had returned to the heavenly cave, carrying the completed mission. "You all listen to me well. The little beggar in front of you now is my junior sister, the one who hunts down the heavenly Luan. As you ignorant onlookers this time, I will leave you with a lowly life. If there is another time, the heavenly Luan doesn't mind. Blood washing the palace. Yes, yes." The people around me had already knelt down and quickly responded obediently, afraid that this murderous devil would change his face in the next second and take his own sacrificial knife. "Tianluan." Luan Fengke rushed over panting heavily and glanced at the little beggar in Ji Tianluan's arms. Seeing that she didn't even have the strength to open her eyes, her voice got stuck in her throat. "Oh, Fengke, just now I bullied the small with my great power and used my level a heavenly punishment to kill several evil servants in your palace. You won't blame me, will you?" "Tianluan, I'm sorry, I don't know. I just said, I don't blame anyone who doesn't know. It's just that the affairs in your palace may cause you trouble. Your Highness, the Crown Prince, is so busy, so don't come to my Zhantian mansion to look for bad luck in the near future." Luan Fengke took a bite of silver teeth and stopped speaking, watching as Ji Tianluan left. Tianluan also knew that he was not wrong about this matter. As the Crown Prince of the Buddha, the largest country in Xianlinji, he was collided with by a little beggar who appeared from an unknown source. It was normal for the palace people to punish her, and killing her was not worth dying. However, who would have thought that this little beggar was actually Tianluan's junior sister, a newly recruited disciple of the national teacher. Having been friends with Ji Tianluan for many years, I naturally know his obsession with his junior sister. The gaze of such a cold and ruthless person towards other punished junior sisters can even make people envious, indicating how deep his obsession is. Now there is finally someone who can be noticed by the national teacher. He is not very happy in his heart, and his face rarely shows a happy expression. Whenever he sees me, he wants to take me to see his junior sister, but, Shida, you go deal with the aftermath of the three of them. Remember to reward their families generously. Also, transfer 3 more people to the Qifeng Pavilion. Yes, Your Highness the Crown Prince. I was gently held by my senior brother, and the road was not bumpy, but it was like a cradle, shaking me to sleep. Senior brother, I don't hurt at all, really. He didn't seem to expect me to suddenly speak up and say something like this. After a pause in his footsteps, he continued, I'll be home soon. Later, I fell asleep. When I woke up again, the wound on my back had already been cleaned and bandaged. My senior brother sat cross-legged on the side to practice Burning Dragon. Seeing that there was movement on my side, he opened his eyes and quickly took back the Burning Dragon and walked towards me. Xiaoqing, where are you feeling unwell? Senior brother. I frowned with tearful eyes and looked at him with a soft expression, cool. Isn't it cool? I was wearing only a belly bag and a pair of pants all over my body. Although there was carbon burning next to me and the fire emitted by the burning dragon was not small, just now my senior brother took the burning dragon back into his body, and the room suddenly became cold. It was only February 15th, and it was still cold. He was stunned for a moment, then hurriedly walked around the room twice, but couldn't find anything useful. Suddenly, he seemed to have a sudden realization and came to my bed. He drew a magic formation and placed it under me. The formation emitted a gentle warmth, dispelling the cold just now. You have a back injury and cannot wear clothes, otherwise it will rot and become inflamed. I can only cast a spell on you. Then, he suddenly stiffened his face and sat down by my bed, his stern gaze making me scared, and the previous bit of affection in his tone was gone. Xiaoqing, why are you so disobedient? Last time you slaughtered a dragon, you ran out of the barrier without authorization. This time I asked you to wait for me, but you ran out again. Why do you always make me worry? Xiaoqing, do you want to become stronger? Do you think no one in this world can bully you anymore? I want to. End of this chapter.